The first thing you notice is the scent. Not just new car, but something sharper, leather, polish, and a faint chemical edge underneath. It smells a little like ambition. You're in the driver's seat of a 2024 Camaro SS, Mosaic Black Metallic. The salesperson has stepped away to check numbers, which both of you understand means the decision is already made. The only thing left is your signature. You're 25. For the first time, your paycheck feels real. Not life-altering. Not permanent security. But real enough to have commas, and after years of stretching every dollar, commas feel like breathing room. The seat hugs you like it was designed for your frame. The steering wheel is cool, steady under your hands. Outside, the lot glints in the afternoon sun, chrome, glass, and possibility. You think, I earned this. Not just the down payment. The moment. This version of you, sitting here. You earned the right to want something beautiful and take it. The salesperson returns. A folder. A number inside it. $947 a month. 60 months. 7% APR. A $48,000 car. He presents it like it's weather, inevitable, neutral, just how things are. You sign. 15 minutes later, you're on the highway. Windows down. The sound system hitting your chest in a way that feels almost physical. And there it is, that feeling you've been chasing without knowing it had a name. You feel like you've arrived. What no one tells you, that feeling expires. And the countdown starts the moment you drive off the lot. Level 2, the show. Within a week, people know. You didn't make an announcement, you didn't need to. You pull into your friend Marcus's driveway one Saturday, and the atmosphere shifts. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. 3 people drift outside. Your cousin circles the car twice without saying a word. Your mom, who has never cared about cars, asks you to drive her to church in it. She sits a little straighter in the passenger seat. Without anyone saying it, you understand something. The car communicates for you. It translates you into a language everyone already understands: success, arrival, proof. So you lean into it. Lightly, at first. You park where it can be seen. You leave a little early just to take the longer route. At parties, when people ask about it, you shrug, it's just a car. But you say it in a way that invites disagreement. They always take the invitation. This is the performance. And it works. The way people look at you shifts. The tone changes. Someone you've been trying to impress for years suddenly wants a ride. A coworker who barely noticed you starts dropping by your desk. Even your father, quiet, practical, careful with words, rests his hand on the hood one evening and says, "Nice machine." It lands deeper than you expect. You take all of this as respect. You don't yet see the difference. Admiration fades. Respect builds slowly, invisibly, in choices no one applauds. That realization is still years away. Right now, it's Saturday night. Windows down. And you feel like the version of yourself you always believed was hidden somewhere beneath the ordinary one. The cost is coming. It always does. Just not yet. Level 3, the crack. By month 4, the payment hits on the 12th. You set up autopay. Watching $947 leave your account manually each month felt too deliberate, too sharp. So now it disappears quietly. No friction. No moment to hesitate. The way slow damage usually works. Because $947 isn't what the car actually costs. You understand that now more clearly than you did when you signed. There's insurance, $310 a month, because a high-performance car driven by a 25-year-old gets priced with unemotional precision. There's fuel, because a 6.2L V8 runs on premium like it never has to think about cost. Then the first repair shows up in month 3. A sensor. Nothing dramatic. $340. And with it, a quiet realization: this won't be the last time. This car will always need something. It doesn't stop costing. It just changes categories. Now total it. $947 for the payment. $310 insurance. $190 fuel. $80 average maintenance. $1,527 a month. Over $18,000 a year. The national average for owning a car sits much lower. Yours doesn't. The payment was the headline. Everything else was buried in the fine print nobody walked you through slowly. So you adjust. You eat out less. You delay a trip. You tell yourself it's temporary. There'll be a raise, a better plan, a way to rebalance things. This is what tightening your finances actually feels like. Not collapse. Not chaos. Just a series of small contractions. Life narrows a little. Your margin for error shrinks. And you barely register it, because each individual trade-off feels reasonable on its own. Logical. Manageable. That's the trick. Fine is how the temperature rises before anything starts to boil. Level 4, the math. You're 27 now. The car still looks incredible. The payment still hits on the 12th. And your relationship with that date has quietly changed into something you don't mention out loud. Then something else happens. Not a crisis. Not a breakdown. Just a quiet, midweek realization. Your friend Devin just bought a house. Devin drives an older Civic with a cracked dashboard. Devin, who works the same job, makes within $9,000 of your salary. Same age. Same company. Same starting point. You never talked about money with him. Until now, indirectly. One night, alone, you open your calculator. Devin had been setting aside about $1,200 a month. Automatically. Quietly. Into an index fund no one ever asked him about at parties. No attention. No admiration. Just a number growing in the background. Meanwhile, your $48,000 car has already dropped roughly 20% in value in its first year. Nearly $10,000 gone without a single dramatic moment. Over 5 years, that decline deepens. And the loan? It doesn't adjust for any of that. Then you hit the number that stays with you. $12,000 a year, what this car is truly costing you. Over 5 years, invested at a typical long-term market return, that becomes roughly $73,000 by the time you turn 30. That number is different. It's not abstract. It's not theoretical. It's a down payment. Leverage. Options. A different version of your life. You sit with it. The car is parked outside, clean, polished, completely unaware of the calculation happening around it. It doesn't know what it's cost you. It doesn't know about Devin. It just sits there, looking exactly like it did the day you bought it. You close the calculator. You don't sell the car. Not yet. Because admitting what it's costing you also means admitting what you've been choosing for the past 2 years. And you're not ready for that conversation. But something has shifted. The crack is there now. And once it's there, it doesn't close. Level 5, the wait. Month 31. It's 11:52 p.m. You're sitting in the car in a parking garage. Engine off. Lights dim. You haven't gone upstairs yet. It's quiet. Just you and the thing you bought to feel like someone. Earlier today, you got passed over for a promotion. Nothing dramatic. No scene. Just a quiet decision made somewhere else. The feedback made sense. You understood it. That didn't make it easier. But that's not why you're still sitting here. You're here because tonight, you did the full calculation. Not the partial version. The real one. Every account open at once. Every number visible. No avoidance. Something you've been putting off for months. In 31 months, you've paid $29,357 toward this car. And today, right now, the car is worth about $27,400. You still owe $27,000. Which means your position on this car, the thing you bought to feel like somebody, is negative. By nearly $30,000. An asset that loses value every day, and you're underwater on it. That's when the weight shifts. You remember reading that a growing share of buyers are carrying payments close to 4 figures. You're not quite there, but close enough that the difference doesn't feel meaningful. You're also aware that missed payments are rising again. Not in a dramatic, headline way. Just quietly, in the background. Which means two things can be true at once. You're not the only one doing this math. And that doesn't protect you from where it leads. Because the margin is thin. One major repair. One medical bill. One interruption in income. That's all it takes for the numbers to stop working. And then there's the statistic that stays with you longer than it should. The average age of a first-time homebuyer keeps drifting upward. Not overnight. Not dramatically. Just slowly, year by year. Something filled that gap. Monthly payments did. Lifestyle signaling did. The quiet swap of building wealth for appearing to have it did. You're 27. And for the first time, it feels like you might be behind on a timeline you didn't even know you were on. The car hasn't changed. Same shine. Same lines. Same sound. You're the one who changed. You're the one sitting in a parked car, late at night, doing arithmetic about your own life and not liking the answer. Eventually, you go upstairs. Sleep doesn't come easily. Level 6, the letting go. You sell it on a Wednesday. No big moment. No cinematic drive into the sunset. You post the listing. A few messages. A couple of serious inquiries. By the following week, it's done. A buyer shows up, calm, practical, holding a cashier's check in a plain envelope. He takes the keys, drives off, and the car disappears around the corner while you stand there watching the taillights fade. And what you feel isn't what you expected. It's not about the car. It's about who you were when you bought it. That 25-year-old version of you, windows down, music loud, feeling like things were finally starting to move. Like life had opened. That feeling was real. And it's gone. That's what you're actually grieving. You close the loan. Run the final numbers. After 31 months, payments, insurance, fuel, repairs, everything accounted for, you're left with $4,200. That's it. 3 years of cost. 3 years of trade-offs. 3 years of quiet pressure. Converted into $4,200. You invest it. Quietly. No announcement. And then something unexpected happens. A couple of weeks later, you're driving a used sedan. Older. Affordable. Slightly worn. And you feel lighter. Not triumphant. Not proud. Just lighter. Like something heavy you carried for so long you stopped noticing it, has finally been set down. No one notices this car. No one gathers around it. No one asks for a ride. And you wait for that to bother you. It doesn't. That silence teaches you something. Something you couldn't have understood 3 years earlier. Level 7, the truth. You're 30 now. Devon has a house. You were there last month, backyard, grill going, people talking, something cooking over charcoal. You stood there holding a drink, feeling something complicated. Part of it is pride for him. Part of it is sharper. Harder to name. And underneath both is clarity. Not emotional. Not dramatic. Just clean, quiet understanding. You finally see what the car actually cost you. Not just the money. The time. The options. The flexibility. The version of your life that could have been quietly building in the background while no one was looking. That's the part no one shows you. Because it doesn't make noise. It doesn't turn heads. It doesn't arrive all at once. It compounds. Slowly. Invisibly. Until one day, you're standing in someone else's backyard, realizing they didn't just make different choices. They made quieter ones. Not $48,000. Not even the $73,000 in missed returns, though that number matters, and it's worth sitting with. What the car really cost you was time. 5 years of financial adolescence. And in a world driven by compounding, those are the most expensive years you have. Because the stretch between 25 and 30 doesn't just cost you money when you misallocate it. It costs you what that money could have become. It costs you the version of yourself who would have had more room to move, more choices available, more leverage in every decision. And in the end, that's what matters most. Options. Here's the part nobody explains clearly about ego-driven financial decisions. They don't feel like ego when you're making them. They feel like reward. They feel like self-respect. They feel like, I worked for this. I came from less. I'm allowed to have something beautiful now. And that impulse. The desire underneath it to be seen, to outgrow the smallness you started in. That's not a flaw. It's deeply human. But the car never actually gave you that. It gave you the performance of it. The appearance. The suggestion. A temporary version of arrival you could step into, but never fully own. Meanwhile, the real version of arriving. The equity. The growing accounts. The quiet expansion of net worth. The ability to say no without consequences. That version kept moving further away. Always just out of reach. At 30, you understand something that was impossible to fully grasp at 25. Not because you were careless. Because you hadn't lived long enough inside the math to feel it. There's a difference between buying something that reflects who you are and buying something to signal who you want others to think you are. One is expression. The other is performance. One costs money. The other costs years. The Camaro was a complete sentence. Clear, bold, expensive. About who you wanted to be seen as. But what you actually needed at 25 wasn't a sentence. It was a paragraph. A chapter. The slow, unremarkable construction of something real. Something that grows without attention. Something that doesn't need an audience to exist. When you think back to that version of yourself, sitting in the driver's seat, windows down, sunlight reflecting off polished surfaces, the salesperson walking back with the numbers. You don't judge him. You understand him completely. Every step made sense from the inside. You just wish someone had been there, in the passenger seat, before the signature. To say, what you're looking for is real. You're just looking for it in the wrong place. Because what you wanted wasn't the car. It was legitimacy. Dignity. A sense that you had earned your place. And none of that lives in something you finance. It never did. It lives somewhere quieter. In the account that grows when nobody is watching. In the decision you make late at night with a calculator and no audience. In choosing the future again and again without needing recognition for it. The car told people where you wanted to go. The account you ignored told the truth about whether you'd get there. At 30, you're getting there. Slower. Less visible. In a used car that doesn't turn heads. And a brokerage account that isn't impressive yet, but is moving in the right direction. Growing quietly. Compounding in the background. Becoming something real. You didn't need a better car. You needed a better question. And 5 years later, you finally have it.